Hey, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in MicroMacro Crime City, which I do not own, but I do own this photograph, or these photographs I took of it. This is a really, really clever game. Basically, the entire game is on one giant map. You can see it here. A giant black and white map that you spread out over the table or you pin to the wall, which I think is the best way. Pin it to the wall if you can. And you're given a bunch of scenarios ranging in difficulty. And in each scenario, it'll say basically a crime has happened. And there's a little picture, there's a description of the crime, and you flip over the card and it says, try to find this area on the board where someone has died or this bad thing has happened, and then try to solve this crime. And if you want to, you can then walk through the cards one by one, and the cards will prompt you with a question that you need to answer step by step, like, okay, what was the murder weapon? And then you'll try to find the murder weapon on the map, and then who did it, and why did they do it? Things like that, questions like that. You can also play, and I think this is the most enjoyable way to play, at least for us it was, where we started to solve the mysteries on our own. So we would look at the board, we would find the bad thing that happened, and then we would branch out from there simply by looking at the board, looking at the map, because it's so well illustrated. The mystery is so well illustrated on the map itself. And then at the very end, we would then go through all the questions and ask the questions and give the answers. That was a really fun way to play. Now I'm skirting over a few, perhaps a really important detail here, in that even though there is a giant map here, different elements of the map show a progression of time. And so you might have a little person on the map that's say they're walking a dog, and then you can see the direction that they're walking, and you might look a few inches away on the map and you might see that same person and they don't have a dog, or maybe they have a balloon and a dog. And so sometime between where you saw that person in that spot and then when you saw the person with the dog, they lost a balloon. And so then you're like, oh, where did the balloon go? How did they lose it? And you're looking in between those two spaces to see where the balloon went or who took the balloon, things like that. That is not a real crime in the game, but that's an example of what could happen. And I really think this is great that you have this massive amount of information on the board itself, like a giant Where's Waldo board. But different pieces of information are shown at different points in time on the map itself. I think that's really, really clever. And I love that you are asked constantly to use your eyes. Use your eyes and try to find the things and try to identify the order in which these things happened and why they happened. I think it's incredibly well designed in that way. The last thing that I think is really, really clever about this game is if you spend some time with the map. So if you don't just try to solve one scenario, but you solve multiples in a row, as you are looking around the map, if you don't just look at the current mystery, but you're looking at all sorts of things, you're looking at all these different little stories that are happening in this city, you'll start to pick up on a lot of different details in such a way that later on, likely when you get to another scenario, that scenario might relate to some of the other things that you already know about. And so you might see the picture on the scenario and be like, I know that person. I saw them with so another person walking around this part of the board. And it really felt like we were actually being detectives in the game because of that. We were detectives in the city. We were walking around the city, learning about the city. And when it came time to solve a crime, we were able to identify it because we were paying attention throughout the whole process, not just at our own mystery, but paying attention to the other mysteries and things happening in the city as well. All because we were using our eyes to look at this giant map. Really, really clever aspect there. I would say my favorite mechanism is this idea of showing the same characters and the same events, but at different points in time throughout the map to see that evolution of what is happening, why it's happening, and branching off from there. You can follow it forward and you can follow it backwards to see what happened to cause the thing that happened in the future. I think that is really, really clever. But in general, I like that it's all on one map. And so you're not looking at separate maps for different points of information. You're looking at all the information on this one giant map and therefore compiling together different pieces of information that you don't quite understand yet about different mysteries as you play. Really clever execution in MicroMacro Crime City. I'm curious if this makes you think of any other games that have similar aspects, or if you have any other favorite mechanisms that you have experienced from playing MicroMacro Crime City. Thanks.